Mitch Wagner from Light Reading. I'm here with Jim McNiel from NetScout. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Mitch.
So how are leading IT organizations using the cloud for competitive advantage?
Leading IT organizations are using the cloud in many, many ways. One way in which they're using it is in compute. Compute is cheap. I mean, we used to spend, $1 million a MIP at the beginning of the Intel days. It's now 7 cents. It's $500,000 for a gigabyte of data. It's now 2 cents, right? Networking has increased 333 million times. We're up to 100 gigabits of throughput. So a cloud makes a lot of sense. You can spin up all kinds of capacity, all kinds of compute, virtually in minutes, where it used to take you months to scale out a data center. Companies like Johnson & Johnson have announced that 85% of their compute is going to be in the cloud. Companies like Monsanto have been able to go to Google, spend 5 days in a compute center and do genetic sequencing, whereas before they'd build a $30 million data center. So there's a lot of ways to leverage cloud, and there's another way to do it, which is to utilize services that are available publicly, like say Salesforce or Marketo, as part of other services that you're going to deliver. So it's a combination of tools.
What pitfalls do organizations using cloud services need to be aware of?
Well, obviously, when you're moving into a cloud, you cede a lot of control. You don't have the same instrumentation, the same visibility. You don't know what the quality of service is going to be necessarily. So you need to design for that. You need to plan for that. There are security concerns depending on the type of business you're in, what kind of data you're going to allow to move into a cloud environment. They're thinking about that. But I think also when you're building complex applications that are using microservices, one of the biggest issues is which part of this service chain is going to break. If something gets interrupted, if it's not meeting customer expectations, they don't care that it was a DNS server or it was an Amazon service or some microservice you pulled down from programmable web. They care it's not working. So to be able to have the visibility to see how all these things come together, how they all relate to each other, what part they play in delivering a service is really critical.
How can IT organizations solve these concerns that you bring up?
Well, one way they can avoid these pitfalls is they need to measure how things are performing. They need to set expectations. They need to understand that there's a certain level of latency that needs to be achieved in order to deliver a quality service. So one way you can do it is you could use NetScout's Ingenious One. You can list all of your URLs that are going to be part of a cloud service, and you can test and measure how those are going to operate. You can establish a baseline, and you can organize it on a service-by-service basis. So if this is my online banking application that uses these 15 different components to deliver it, it's called online banking, but underneath that tile, there are all the individual elements and how they're performing. So with one click, I can see how everything is working.
Okay, and how does all this relate to digital transformation?
Well, obviously cloud is just one part of the digital transformation revolution, if you will. What we're talking about in digital transformation is how do you leverage the information inside of your corporation to really make game-changing decisions. As an example, 1998, GE and Coca-Cola, top of the S&P 500. Mm-hmm. Today, it's Apple and Google.
Yeah.
What is Google? Is it a search company? I don't think so. Google's an information company. They give us search, and in return, we give them everything we know.
Yeah.
Everything we look for, everything we care about, Google has in their hot little paws, and then they turn around and sell that to people like me and NetScout who are buying advertising, right? So they're leveraging information to make a new business model. Uber has a larger market cap than Ford. They don't own a car. Airbnb has a larger market cap than Starwood or Marriott. They don't own a hotel room. They're information-driven companies. So inside of your network, inside of your business today, there's information that can make decisions for you if you can have access to it, if you can analyze it and understand what it's telling you about how you work with your customers, how they work with you, and what new revenue streams and opportunities exist inside of the network that you already operate.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you, Mitch.
Okay.
Pleasure.